Okay, we're going to read a little more adventure from our Oregon Trail adventure story. It started out as a great adventure. You were traveling west on the Oregon Trail with your parents, twin brother, and little sister. After years of struggling to get by in Missouri, your parents decided your family would start a new life out west. But the adventure had turned into a nightmare. It started when your father got very sick. Your mother soon followed. It was smallpox. The others in your wagon train couldn't afford to stop. They didn't want to risk catching the disease, and they also needed to reach Oregon before winter. You decided to stop your wagon on the plains of Nebraska and watched as the train continued west without you. You did all you could to nurse your parents back to health, but your mother died 5 days later. Your father followed yesterday. You buried them both along the trail and marked their grave with a cross made of sticks. Now, the three of you are alone. We have to turn around, says 10-year-old Annabelle, her face now streaked with tears. Your brother Lucas sits with his head in his hands. Your father's rifle lies beside him. There's nowhere for us to go back to, he says with a sigh. We sold everything we own. But it's too far, Annabelle says. How can we do it alone? You wipe your hands on your apron. Lucas is right, you tell her. Lucas and I are 17. We'll be 18 by the time we make it to Oregon. That's old enough to stake a claim and start a life. We have to go now, Lucas says. He stands and begins to hitch your mules to the wagon. We're already almost 2 weeks behind the wagon train. We haven't seen another wagon for days. If we don't go now, we won't make it before winter. There's another reason to hurry. When you left Missouri, you thought you had enough food and supplies. You have a good team of mules to pull your wagon, as well as your father's reliable mare. You have pots, tools, fishing gear, and 2 good rifles. You left with water casks, flour, bacon, dried beef, sugar, and salt. But over time, your food stores have dwindled. You ate too much early in your journey and lost some food to spoilage. Even if you leave now, you're not sure you'll have enough. Annabelle looks worried. Look, you tell her, we just have to follow the trail right along the Platte River. We'll be to Fort Bridger before you know it. The trail isn't hard to follow. The prairie grasses are beaten down to bare dirt in places, but that also creates a problem. Your mules need grass to eat. So does the mare. There isn't enough on the trail. Lucas suggests turning to the north in search of better grazing land, but you worry about leaving the main trail. So you decide to stay on the main trail. We don't have the time, you say. Maybe we'll find better grazing ahead. Let's stay on the trail. Hours later, the trail is still mostly dirt and mud. The mules and the horse eat what grass you find, but you already see the animals growing weaker and thinner. Without the mules, you'll be stranded. The next day, you reach a small river. There's a spot where you can tell wagons have forded. Should we cross here, you ask? I don't like the look of the current, Lucas says. We don't want to get washed away. What if we turn north and look for a better crossing? This may be the best crossing, Annabelle says. Let's just go. Both of them turn to you. You make the decision to cross here. There's no guarantee that there's a better spot, you decide. We'll try to cross here. There's a lot to do. If the river was shallow, the mules would just pull the wagon across. But that won't work. The animals will have to swim. Your wagon is built to float. All the seams are covered in wax. You unhitch the mules from the wagon at the riverbank. Lucas takes the wheels off the wagon. It's not a perfect solution. Water seeps in slowly, but you'll be on the river only a few minutes. Nothing should get too wet. The animals swim across as you launch the wagon and begin to float. Lucas uses a long stick to push the wagon along. But by the middle of the river, he has no control. The strong current is pulling you downstream. "The mules!" shouts Annabel. You turn and see the animals struggling. They're not strong enough to fight the current. One of them goes under. Seconds later, the other follows, and you can't see the horse. Lucas frantically tries to guide the wagon to the shore. Boom! The wagon smashes into a rock. Water gushes through a large crack in the wood. You grab Annabel and dive toward the shore. The cold water takes your breath away, but you swim for all you're worth. Exhausted, you grab hold of a rock on the opposite bank. It's slick and you can't pull yourself up, but you are able to give Annabel the boost she needs to climb out of the rushing river. You lose your grip and feel yourself being pulled back under the water. You can't see. You can't see Lucas, and you don't know if he made it out of the water. Annabel is alive at least. What her future holds, you can't guess. Your last wish is that she will find someone kind to look after her.